as it actually is. We're being joined right now by Lori Marsh Marble and Senator Kelly Marsh Taitano is off. There she is. I saw your knee, but there she is, waving in the background, video bombing as always. But Lori, truly, as the CEO and founder of the Be Heartfelt organization, you joined the program. We're gracious with your time, telling us about a project that you were doing to collect footwear for needy kids in our island community and everything. So we're glad to have you back. And I guess the first question I'd like to ask is probably the most obvious: is where are we with the collection effort, and how many pair of shoes were you able to get through just donations of love from the people here?
So people really came out. I'm so excited to say that our home here is full of boxes, literally full of boxes.
Wait, that's all the shoes in the background? I thought you were moving or something. That's all the shoes.
A whole row of shoes.
Wow.
So we have over 700 shoes that were donated. And, you know, when I talked about how large the need is in the schools for children who are experiencing homelessness, I was excited about this because this is going to be literally a game changer. Like, this is going to allow a lot of children to be able to feel comfortable, confident, and go to school and have one less thing that they maybe feels is a stigma or separates them from other kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that, and you were saying there is the physical component, obviously, of having footwear that allows you to be safe and healthy, but then also, and maybe even more important, the psychological aspect of, you know, like, I'm a part of this school community. And like you said, I mean, you know, kids sometimes they can either be, you know, deliberately rough on each other, or, you know, inadvertently they can just say, oh, you know, your pair of shoes isn't like mine, ha ha ha, and, you know, the kid winds up being, you know, understandably, you know, embarrassed because of that. But because of the way our community, and no surprise there that Guamanians throughout the island would come out and donate these shoes to help the little ones and everything like that. I mean, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Even for someone like you who grew up here and everything, how does that make you feel to see such an incredible turnout?
It warms my heart, but I think I'm kind of like you. I know that the people here have a heart for serving and caring for another. And to me, it's really about awareness. You know, offering information, giving them a way to be able to participate is really my goal, and they matched it. So, I mean, it's amazing, but it's also, I can't wait to see. We're going to do this annually, what next year will even bring. Because I've even had a few of the smaller islands reach out and say, like, hey, is this something that could bless us? And I'm thinking next year, if we got 700 to 800 this year, yes, we can really make an impact.
The growth chart would be like this, onward and upward, hockey stick, you know, going right up.
Yes, no, I'm really excited. I had more messages and people wanting to drop off. I'm going to need to add new and more drop-off spots next year, because I think as people get word of it, maybe we do it a little sooner before school starts. You know, all the things I'm learning, I think that we can really have people show up in a major way and make a huge change.
Okay, and I remember last time, you know, you were respectfully and humbly asking for these donations, but there also were some parameters, and they said, you know, they have to be closed-toe shoes. Prefer maybe like cross trainers or, you know, gym shoes and everything, just because they're a little bit more, you know, flexible as far as the environment in which they can use them, and, you know, how they can be worn and everything. But what were the ranges of sizes, of appropriate ages for the kids? Because kids is such a wide spectrum and everything like that. But what kind of shoes were you given?
So I've gotten all different types of shoes, and you're right. You know, one of the reasons why we needed a large range is because every child has a unique size, and you don't want to not have their size. And so you need to have a lot of offerings.
If I may, Lori, sorry, don't mean to interject, but can I ask your lovely sister if she would maybe grab one of those boxes and maybe show us a sample of some of the shoes? I mean, she is a lifelong public servant, so I'm sure she's okay. She's doing the Vanna White thing right now. Da 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 da. So I'm
And it
sorry,
was
Laurie.
really no, and we even had a few businesses that partnered and bought new shoes. We even had a couple of like employee organizations that said we want to do a drive within our office. So it was all different facets that we received the shoes. And like you were saying, sizes, even some of the smaller ones.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful shoes, and they range. I've been scrubbing some of them because sometimes it's just a little bit of dirt from running outside, but they're a beautiful pair. Actually, shoes last longer, I think, than maybe I even thought. And so it's a great way to get that pair of shoes that doesn't fit that child anymore on a new child.
Yeah, the range
One
that
that-
Senator Kelly's got there. I mean, this is a very diverse collection of footwear. I would say there, Lori. I mean, you're seeing those look like a pair of pumps. I thought, and then we had some
Yeah,
some
they
nice
had a
cross
little
trainers and some
sole
basketball
fit.
shoes.
Yeah, and what we said is, you know what? Maybe that means that they get a pair of flats and they get a pair of tennis shoes. Give them a second option. I mean, that's the goal, is to really help these children as much as possible. And then, like I was saying, I got some baby shoes, and they're like brand new. They're so cute. And so I decided that I messaged Harvest House and said, hey, with the baby shoes, I bet Harvest House, working with children in foster care, those baby shoes would be a
Oh, look
better
at those!
fit for them.
What, we had a pair of Airwalks, it looks like, and some Crocs.
Yes, those I think are Doc Martens. I'm
Oh,
learning
Doc
a lot
Martens.
about
Oh,
brands.
excuse me,
I know,
Doc
I'm
Martens,
learning
lovely.
brands, too.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's my goal, is partnering with different nonprofits already here. In the donations, I received a couple of bags of clothes, and they were clean, beautiful, really nice. Right now, the outreach team at the schools can't accept clothes, and so those I'm passing on to Catholic Social Services. I mean, to me, this is the win, is that we're each helping each other take care of the children in these different ways.
And the timing couldn't be more perfect, Lori, because of course, like our public school kids back in classrooms starting on Monday, and even though they're doing cohorts, some kids today are in day 2 and everything like that. So as far as getting these out to the various distribution sites and everything like that, what's your strategy about delivering these goods so they can get, I was going to say in the hands, but literally on the feet of kids that need them?
Yeah, so in the past, when I came in, had about 100 shoes, we would go out to the families. And I thought that, that might be a possibility, is going out to some of the families. We'll see how the next week turns out. We always have to follow the protocols. But if not, each one of the social workers and their outreach teams already know about these shoe donations. They're really excited, and it will go to a central spot, and they'll be able to pull from the 700 shoes for their resources for the kids at their schools. And so, unfortunately, it might be a little bit more work on their side this time, because I try and take that off their shoulders, but they're just so excited to have new shoes and these gently used shoes that I don't think they mind that they're going to have like, some of the kids come in and try a pair on here or there. They told me they would take pictures, or I'll get to stop in maybe. So, I just say anytime we have some type of a change, we just pivot.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean we're not going to do it. We're just going to pivot.
And if I can once again, Senator Kelly, I'd like to bring you into frame, if I may. And I know one thing, when you were sitting as a member of the legislature, is you touted and preached, Inafamaulik so much, and the inherent responsibility of our people to take care of each other as neighbors and everything. When you see this kind of act of generosity, and again, like for those of us that live here, we can say it's so heartwarming to see this, and it's so wonderful to see yet another testament of just generosity, and at the same time we're not at all surprised and everything like that. What does that make you feel as a civic leader and as a member of this community to see this kind of outpouring?
Well, of course, it makes me proud that our community steps up, because not every community and not every group does. But part of what I'm doing, like I'm getting ready to teach an anthropology class at the University of Guam later on today, and the chapter that we're looking at today is about human diversity, race, and racism. And so the other part that I always touted was looking at the root causes. And so we can do wonderful things like this. We need to step up. We need to continue helping each other. But we also need to figure out what those root causes are that are causing so much assault, abuse, domestic violence, and homelessness, because our high rates are something that need to be fixed. Lori and I have both talked about being homeless when we grew up, and just different situations like that, as you mentioned, do have those psychological tolls. And so the children especially, they're victims in all of this. I mean, the parents, of course, as well, and anybody else that's part of the family. But we have to continue to show that love and support and compassion by figuring out those root causes and lifting each other all up. So this part is great, and then I hope and want to still work towards lifting the other parts up as well, so that we're hopefully addressing it and solving it.
And ladies, thank you so much again for sharing your backstory and sharing the very rough times that you unfortunately had to go through as young ladies here on the island. But obviously this has motivated you and propelled you to give back in the community, and it's everybody's sincere hope that the recipients of these shoes would realize that this is not a handout, it's a hand up, and that they in their lives as they mature as well, is they would give back, as previous generations did as well. So Lori, is that a message that you feel will be implicitly marshaled onto these recipients, or do you plan to talk to some of the groups, or interact directly with the social workers?
Yes, I actually do, and I have in the past. That's part of the reason why the outreach team and I typically go out to the families, because I can share my story. It may not be their story, but what it shows is that you can be an active part of changing the trajectory of your choices. And I tell them, I didn't always make great choices. Those were things that I needed to figure out, but I also needed to talk. I needed to talk to a trusted person at my school, a counselor, a social worker. So that's what I encourage them to do. I also remind them to stay in school. School at times was great, other times it wasn't. And I didn't have that mentorship of someone saying, school is going to be, education is going to be a way to change so that they understand this is not who they are, their circumstance, that they are loved, valuable, and they were created for a purpose, which is my mission statement. That's what I try and mean, even when I speak at the schools. It's a lot of times a very similar group of kids. Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
But yes, when at one of the middle schools, they have a great program there. It's called the STAR program, and they have about 40 kids in this program. And we're looking at different ways to do more of that outreach because I believe giving them shoes to go to school, that's one step. My next program, that I'm just often starting is feeding children who are hungry on the weekend. And that's another step, because I feel like you need to meet some of those basic needs because that builds trust, that builds, this understanding that school is a safe place and there are people who are looking out for them and people who want the best for them.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like they all go hand in hand. Just like when I used to serve at a homeless shelter in Kansas City, 400 people in the day shelter, you need to first meet their hunger need before you can have a conversation, because that's the priority of where they're at. And, I really want to make a difference in this child's life so that if they're not hungry on the weekend, now they can come to school, they can pay attention, they feel like others are looking after them, that they are cared for. And so, there's no judgment in the family dynamics or where they're at. Those are adults and their choices, but it's the child. The child is where my heart really is at, because they don't have a say when they're young in some of the choices that are made.
And I can say with full confidence that I can pretty much guarantee that is going to be a message and a life lesson that will not be lost on each and every one, not just of the recipients themselves, but on their families, and then indirectly the people who are involved with this. Let me ask you, the fact that you're working on this project together as sisters, what does that mean for the two of you? Not from the standpoint of like, look what we did, this is really, really cool, but you've got that background that you both talked about. You've had struggles in your lives, but you've also got that unbreakable bond at being siblings and everything like that. To be able to conceptualize an idea like this and be able to reach out and touch the lives of young children together and everything, what does that mean to the both of you?
Well, to me, it means the world, because I always say that my sister always has my back. That was something that I knew as a child, even though there were 5 years between us. And there were a lot of things we didn't share with each other. That's how deep secrets run in dysfunction in the families. And, so that's one of those things, as you get older, you feel like you can start sharing and talking about it. But she always had my back. And I think that there's a lot of deep love and protection for one another. And we have different gifts. That's why when I say each child's created with a purpose, I'm amazed at what my sister's accomplished in life. And she's gone such a different route than I did. But I think we both say that we equally feel as though we have done amazing things with the gifts instead of being brought down by them. So resilience. We talk about this. I said, man, we're both really resilient people. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but I'm so thankful that we both are resilient. And I think that we tag each other. At least I know I do. On a tough day, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is hard. And she's just like, I love you. Now get back up and get going.
Yep. Exactly the kind of thing that an older sibling should say. So speaking from an older sister's perspective, Kelly, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I would add persistence, that we both have the trait of persistence as well. Resistance and also persistence. And I'm sure there's some sort of like catchy saying we could come up with about that, since they rhyme so well. But like my sister was saying, it's appreciating the care and compassion that we have in each other towards helping out our community and making a difference, using it as a lesson that that causes us to want to make a difference. And so we have had such different lives. She's been in Kansas City and elsewhere in the U.S. because that's where her husband works and where life has taken her. But she has done years and years of volunteer work in Kansas City with inner city youth, with people of all walks and so forth, with immigrants. She's gone to Peru, she's gone to the Philippines, she's gone to Palau. And so I'm really proud of that and appreciate the skills that she's developed along the way And as she said, I'm here to support all of that in any way that I can so that we're leveraging it for our community to bring us all up as well.
Absolutely. And probably the best summation of that sentiment is we got a comment right now from Facebook. Mary Jane Villagomez very appreciatively says, pay it forward. And that's absolutely what it's all about. Find your own gift, whatever you're good at in this world, and find a way to give back to our community. So yeah, and real quick, Lori, because I got to go to commercial break, but people can find you on your website, find about because this is one project of many that you've undertaken at Heartfelt, but it's beheartfelt.com, correct?
It is.
All right.
And the Snack Pack program is just up and starting, and that's really important to me.
And you need volunteers.
And I need lots of volunteers and snack donations.
Well, we are definitely going to make sure that your volunteer kitty is full, because you have kept all of our hearts full. Thank you for sharing that story, and thank you, Guam. 700 pairs of shoes. 700 or 800.
Yeah. I'm still counting.
That is a good problem to have. Well,
ones.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, community. Thank you, Kelly.
Right
Thank
on.
you, Lori. It's an amazing story, and we're so happy just to have been a bullhorn for helping get out the word about this. But come back anytime. We'd love to catch up with you on some of the amazing work you continue to do.
Yes.
You've already got a spot. You've certainly earned it. So thank you very much, ladies.
Yeah, we're doing Giving Tuesday. We're doing Giving Tuesday.
Oops.
If you guys want to jump on, just shoot Jason a message if you want to get involved with that.
Yes. Yeah. Every December.
It's actually November.
Or is it November? Yeah. Every November, there's a day of giving called Giving Tuesday, and we would absolutely be delighted to incorporate you guys with what we do here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we look
I
forward to that.
appreciate your efforts.
Let me know if you find a left Zori. I'm missing one.
I think I have a couple.
Okay, thanks.
There you go.
I'll come by and Cinderella it.
All
There
right,
you go.
thank
Be
you
heartfelt.
guys.
Right
Take
on.
care.
We got to take a break. We're going to come back and close it out with Cover Me, brought to you by our friends at Burger King. And I got a little secret for you.